Hello walkers, and welcome back to Bozeman, Montana. We are going to take a walk around here and I'm going to show you a few things. Mainly the color of the trees this autumn. It is fall. It is late September, and I'm going to tell you a few details here, and then we're going to get on to our walk around downtown Bozeman and a couple of neighborhoods. Or at least one neighborhood. We'll see. It is about 11:15 a.m., 51 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius. I like to give that out per request. And it's been over a year since I filmed in Bozeman. It's a little strange to think that. Time is flying by. I live over in Livingston, which is about 30 miles over Bozeman Pass. But I lived in Bozeman a few years, and I come over fairly often still. It's kind of the central city of about, 50 to 60,000 people now. It has exploded. I'm going to point you over here to the right. This is the Emerson Center for the Arts and Culture. It is an old school, and now it has a ballroom, a theater, several art studios. I think they still have a restaurant, some galleries, etc. It's on the corner of Grand and I believe it's Mendenhall. Nope, Babcock, sorry. Grand and Babcock. And over this way is the downtown area, and we're going to head down here in a second. That's also the Bozeman M and the Bridger Mountains. If we were to go to up Grand here, we would go to the South Side neighborhood. It's sort of the older, classic neighborhood, and I do love walking around there. Also, if you go up this way, you'll hit MSU, about a mile or so, so not very far. And I'm going to tell you a few things about Bozeman as we go. I mentioned the population. It's in Gallatin County, and it has exploded over the last 20 years. That's a little bit of hyperbole, but I think it's doubled. The population has doubled in 20 years. It really sprang up over the pandemic. People wanted to get out of the cities, loved Montana. At the time, the real estate prices were a good deal. If you're selling a house in California or Seattle or something like that, much less so now. I think the prices are actually, I think the median price peaked out around $800,000, $750 for a single family home. Pardon my little autumn allergies kicking up here. This is the Lark Hotel. It used to be kind of a dive, and then 10 years or so ago, maybe a little more, some architects came in, they bought it, rehabbed it, made it sort of this mid-century modern. A few years ago, more recently, they built this extension which has multiple stories. There's a coffee shop, there's a ice cream trailer, etc. built in. We're coming up on Main Street here. One of the more famous landmarks of Bozeman is the Baxter Hotel. If we look off to the west here, this turns into Huffine, goes out to the mall, and it goes out to Four Corners, and eventually Ennis and the Madison River. But we are going to head east because that's where the rest of downtown lies. And I think I could just cross, actually. It is nice and brisk. You can see the sort of the shop here, and then the trailer, which is open in the summer. Looks like they switched over to tacos. Les Jarochos, the Lark Hotel. You can see the kind of mid-century design. It's really pretty cool. Boutique type hotel. Across the way, you're going to get Willie's Distillery. And then that building used to be the Bozeman Bistro, and it is no longer. It was around for a long time, kind of a fine dining place. If you want some outdoor sport gear, there's plenty of places to get your gear down here. Chalet Sports is one. Bangtail coming up on another, and then I'll point it out. You've got Ted's Montana Grill across the way. I think it's still the only Ted's Montana Grill in Montana, owned by Ted Turner. It's a chain. This is Wilson Street. You can see the Armory Hotel poking its head up over behind the Cannery Lounge there and Burger Bob's. They've been around for a long time. Just a basic burger place, but classic Bozeman institution. Bozeman is a very dog-friendly town.
I mean, honestly,
you're going to get a lot of sort of stylish shops, clothing shops, a couple of galleries, and the Country Bookshelf, which is a local independent bookstore. Great selection. If you go in there, they'll help you find books of any kind that you're looking for. Across the way is the Ellen Theater. Got a magpie up here. Kind of fun. The Ellen Theater across the way used to be sort of a stage and movie theater place, and now it's more of a stage kind of place. They've rehabbed it. You can see that awning over there is pretty classic, historic look. Several different coffee shops downtown, including Wild Joe's, one of my favorites. Trying to remember some of the other ones. The Rialto used to be just a kind of a low-end movie theater, and now it's been rehabbed I believe by the same people that did the Lark into an event space, which is really cool, really well done. They do a great job. Vargo's Books is also an independent used books seller. Love these classic old buildings downtown and how they've managed to keep it for the most part, despite the growth and economic boom they've seen here. This is Tracy, and I think I'm going to cross over because it's a little chilly on this side of the street. You can also see another AC hotel over there. There's the Armory, the AC hotel, and the Element have all been built back on that other side of Maine. And it's multi-story hotels and places to stay. There's also, you can find vacation rentals around as well. Cross again here. I'm just gonna do that. You've got some, Fall Raven is outdoor gear. Out West Trading Co. I haven't noticed that before. Fair amount of stuff going on here. Some high-end watch shops. Lululemon. So you do see some chains coming in downtown. Ace has been here as long as I've been here, which is 20 years now. You also have a little hostel here, which is kind of nice if you're traveling through, backpacking through. The Heist Steakhouse, I have not been in there. The Plonk Wine Bar, that's a great place to get some tapas type snacks and wine. The Co-op downtown is an extension of the local Co-op, which is further west on Main. Here we go. Schnee's is another outdoor store. Less camping and more leather boots and outdoor fashion type stuff. Right, this is the U.S. Bank building that they have actually been refurbishing and how do I say this? it had been modernized, and they're bringing it back, the underlying historic look of it, which I just love that they're doing that. Instead of building having the 70s style glass and cement structure. So kudos to them, maintaining the look and feel of this sort of 19th century, early 20th century Western bar. I'm trying to think, I haven't filmed in a couple months because I filmed so many on our Midwestern adventures, Southern Midwestern adventures. And I'm just getting back to it. So, here we go. Zocalo Coffee is a nice little coffee shop. And I think there's another one, coffee shop across the way. Maybe it's a block behind us. All right, the Crystal Bar is a classic, kind of a Bozeman dive bar. I don't think they've really fixed it up. But they do have a deck, or they have had a deck. I haven't been in there in decades. And then you got, oh yeah, here we go, Bangtail Cycles and Skis, cross-country skis. So they sell bikes, mountain bikes, cross-country ski gear in the winter. Great place. We got a sign for Dave's Sushi as we cross Bozeman. You can see they're doing a lot of work here, and I think a lot of it is around some fiber optic cable that they're bringing in. I'm not entirely sure about that. You get into some newer buildings on this end of the downtown, except for on the left, one of these buildings, I think it was this one, where you see the sign for El Camino and Big R, blew up. As I've mentioned in other videos from Bozeman, they had a big, massive gas explosion. Luckily, only one person died because it was right here in the heart of downtown, but before business hours really got going. I think it happened around 7:30 or 8 in the morning as I talk over this music being played out into the public space. Across the way is Mackenzie River Pizza Company. I think that's the first one that they opened, and it's now all over the place. I've seen them in South Dakota, other states, I guess. I think they have them in Washington and a few other places. You see Mint Corral, passing the Legion. Yeah, you did. And then we've got, I think it's Home on the Range, or Open Range here is another restaurant. Also want to point out, oh, we passed it back there. There's the Blackbird Kitchen, I think, is a really nice place to eat if you're in town. Definitely make a reservation there. It's quite popular. Here's the Legion, or the Eagle, sorry. That's a music venue as well as American Legion Bar. And then off to the left here is, I don't even know what this building is called. It's kind of a classic old 120-year-old building. There's office space up top, and then there are Pub 317, Tarantino's Pizza. I think the Poorhouse is still around in the back, and then I believe the Zebra Lounge is down below. Just kind of a lounge slash venue. This is Rouse. Let me see, there's a sign here. I love this little park away across the way as well. Over here we have Sweet Peaks Ice Cream, some pretty good local ice cream shop. We wait for the light. if you go this way, in the winter, you get up to Bridger Bowl, which is the local ski hill. It's a non-profit. Pardon my sniffle. As I said before, you get into some of the newer buildings off to the right here, and we're going to go another couple blocks. Just because I like to show you the library. It's a really neat building, probably 15 years old, maybe a little more. It's LEED certified, and it is an eclectic mix of buildings downtown. For instance, we've got this sort of Art Deco apartment building off to the left that's still here, defying economic pressures. I love it. You've got this sort of old brick, who knows how old that is, 80 years? Anyway, nice mural. It's the Mountain Angler Fly Shop's been around forever. Maybe not forever, but for a long time. Maybe when I say forever, we just assume as long as I've been here. Here's the Western Cafe. It's a famous, not famous, it's a well-known local breakfast eatery. Often has very long lines out the door. It's a small little place, which I would film, but I don't want to intrude on people that are sitting out here. This place over here is Shine now. It used to be the garage, and now they have sort of La Paria burritos is the food, and Soup Bar is the food, and they also have a sort of a tap room type beer bar, which is cool. This little shop over here, that Willie's Jeep has been there forever, and I don't know how they managed to stay in business. The real estate prices there must be huge, have very small footprint, and yet they managed to keep on going. All right, this building off to the right here, I don't know what it is now. Next Frontier Capital. Thought maybe they had a co-working space in there. For a long time it was a grocery store, little grocery store for people that live downtown in this area. That has moved about a quarter mile further east out towards the highway there. About two lights past this one, which is Wallace. We've got Music Villa here. Great people in there if you're looking to play some music. I've recently started playing the mandolin, trying to anyway. You've got a marijuana dispensary, which used to be a paint store. And here you've got Montana Ale Works, which, surprisingly enough, is not a brewery, but it is a great restaurant if you're looking to have a good meal here that's not outrageous. They do get really busy in the summer. And behind here we have the Ag Depot, an old grain silo and I guess feed store. And we're going to go down one more block here, half block, to show you the library. And the reason I like to show you the library is it is LEED certified. It's a really cool building, but also it is a little bit of a nexus in the sense of there is a trail that goes off here, the Bozeman, what is it? It's something mountains, Main Street to the mountains, or mountains to the Main Street trail on the far side. Also, Lindley Park is on the far side of it. You can see the building there. It's here on Main Street. You've got Ale Works here, which I'm going to show you after this lady passes. They got a nice little patio space, which is relatively new. Looks like they're trying to grow some hops there and some vines and outdoor seating. And unlike many other places, I was in Chattanooga. I forget the south side or the west side. Anyway, they've got all this outdoor seating area. Here's a bank, as well as, which shares a drive-through with the M Coffee Bar. And then there's a few other places in here. Across the way there is an antique junk shop, although it's looking like they're gone now. That's interesting. And of course, the library. It's such a wonderful community resource. All sorts of kids programs. Of course, you can rent books, you can get access to computers, and it's a public space for people, meeting rooms, etc. Love it. Now, I was gonna bang a left up here and take you into the South Side neighborhood, but we've done that quite a few times, or several times, so let's go over to the north side on Wallace here. The north side is kind of known for having more eclectic homes and buildings, which is kind of nice, kind of neat. Love these colors. Look at these wonderful flowers, and the leaves are changing. Oh, it's just a great day to be outside in Bozeman, Montana. Okay, off to the left, there is the Lockhorn Cidery in that wooden and cement building behind the former grocery store, which is called Heeb's, which is a family name, local family name. And then there's a new office building, new being within the last 10 years, I guess. Things that I think were 5 or 10 years ago, I'm realizing that it's 2023, and 5 years in my mind is actually 10 years on the calendar. I love that we are starting to get more and more murals in our cities, a public art space. You'll see that a lot of the electric or phone junction boxes have been wrapped in some sort of colorful or artistic type of wrap to make it. Look, I love pointing out little things like this. I talked about a feed store. There's a huge pile of sunflower seeds there that got spilled, and some birds or squirrels are going to have a field day with that. Got these great silos sort of still hanging on here, even though they could sell this space for huge amounts of money. With these old buildings, old wooden buildings that are still hanging on. So we come up on Mendenhall, cross over, and I think we'll go down. Yeah, we'll poke around down here. Sort of classic old Bozeman. So when I moved here in 2003, it was kind of on the upswing. Still very much a college town, a ski town, a fishing bum town. But change was in the air. And talk about a little colonial nostalgia. Look, love this, some little manufacturing designs. Love these chairs over here. I wanted to go take a look at them. Colonial nostalgia, so this loss of things the way they were before we got here and changed everything, right? So look at these awesome Adirondacks. Beautiful chairs. And I feel like there's sort of a, it's not really a meme, but a cliche joke about people moving here and then living for a couple years and then complaining about how much it's changed and how they wish it would stay the way it was, but the way it was when they moved here. And I am certainly one of those people that moved here and has probably brought a little change. And there, just go ahead and use the crosswalk. But you know, that's part of that is natural. There's a bumper sticker, you'll see something sometimes in town. Did you move here to be in a hurry? As people rush around with a different pace of life here than where they were. You know, people talk about the traffic in Bozeman. It has changed a lot, but still, you can get anywhere you need to go in half an hour, even during the busiest parts of the day. Because fact is, it's still not that big. I love these classic old Bozeman houses still hanging strong here. Hi there. Somebody's got a wood burning stove or fireplace in the back there. Maybe they're burning some leaves or something. Seriously though, these are the houses that are going for $700,000 or so, $600,000. I bought a 1,600 square foot house in 2003 for, I think it was 180, brand new. Nice place, I loved it. Not downtown, but not far, certainly walkable. And the mortgage payment was less than my rent was in Washington, D.C. for a one bedroom. We're on Plum here and we're gonna make a left and wend our way through this little neighborhood. Nice and quiet. These are all lilac bushes here. And then this light colored one is, I believe, a Russian olive. That is an introduced species, now invasive. And I believe they brought them in for, a lot of ranchers and farmers brought them in as windbreaks. Morning. And you see this house on Plum by Sunny R. Garden. Maybe we can look this up and somebody can look it up and put it, the value of it or the listing price on the comments section. If you haven't checked out citywalksvirtualtours.com, the website, please do so. It's a great place if you're looking to be able to find these walks and in a organized fashion. I find that when I search on YouTube, you get just, there's so much content on there that it's hard to find good walks or walks that are specifically what you're looking for. On the website, I've organized them both by location, so continent, country, and specifically for the US, which I have under North America, it's by state. You can also go by run time in 10-minute increments. So if you're looking for a 30-minute or a short walk, under 30-minute walks, you can find those. If you're looking for a long hour-plus walk, you can find those, or a 40-minute walk, you can find that as well. Okay, I love this little cute little house, but also the fact that it's got a heat pump. As we move our economy and our infrastructure towards electricity, because we can produce that ourselves as homeowners, as building owners or property owners or business owners. And we get these super efficient heat pumps. Oh, look at this. This is pretty sweet. These whooping cranes on this garage. I love this. And this is kind of what the north side is known for, these quirkier, smaller, probably not to code type buildings. Different designs. So anyway, heat pumps, as we get more and more, they're super efficient. And even though we'll get a number of days below zero, heat pumps can still operate at that level. Maine has a huge program to do to get people installing heat pumps, because as we come up on Broadway, we've been walking on Davis here, and pardon me. Anyway, even though the efficiency of heat pumps goes down as the weather moves towards extremes, so this is Simpkins Hallen Lumber Company. They're a local lumber company, and they've got a number of different business locations around town. Look at this pocket house here. Anyway, back to heat pumps, because I love talking about this stuff. They aren't as efficient at lower or higher super high temperatures, but they still work down to a point, and after that point you need to have some supplemental heating. So we do get several days, quite often, new builds going in here, of, often, or most years we get a day or two or three of 20 below, 25 below, 10 below, and that will challenge your heat pump, unless it's a geothermal heat pump, in which case I think that's a different story, because you're exchanging the heat and cool with the earth, which stays a fairly constant temperature. It's a neat old house too. I know a couple long-time residents that bought their houses when they were back in the 90s or 80s, and just sort of worked construction or up at the ski hill. And were able to buy a house back in the day when they were under $100,000. Interest rates were low, and thanks. And they're sitting on their retirement now. The Bozeman Tasting Room, that's a local brewery. One of probably the first or second oldest in the area. And they have a little tasting room there. Open till 8, I think. Limited to 3 beers are the rules. Off to the left here, I think this is it, is a fairly new one, relatively new one, 10 years old, I'd say. I think this is Mountain Walking Brewery. As we hit Avocado Street here, we're going to cut over. This is Mountain Walking, or the next one is. I'm not sure what this is. Oh, it must be part of Mountain Walking. Maybe. Anyway, they have a restaurant in their brewery. Food's pretty good. I would say the beer is not to my preference, but a lot of people really like it. So let's take a look at the mountains, because we're in Montana, and why not? Those are the Bridger Mountains. Just out of view by that ridge, which I think are Story Hills, is the M, big white M made out of painted rocks. And that's a nice trail. I've done a couple hikes up there that I think I've shared with you. You can find those by searching on the website or on the channel. Get back here to Plum Avenue, but we're going to go another block back over to Wallace, I think. A couple things I want to see over there and share with you, because I haven't been here in a year, and honestly, the growth rate of this town, every time I come back, I feel like I have found, or I discover, a new building that's been put up, a new store, a new business. Oh, now you turn left. And it's kind of fun to have those discoveries. Plus, we'll get back into some of this nice foliage. I think this is Larkin Distributing here off to the right. They're a bottling company. Kind of a classic, neat old fence. And kind of a neat tunnel between the lilacs and whatever these other trees are. Mostly lilacs, I think. Looks like a redone place. I love the nature-scaped yard though. It's not lawn. It's just natural, local, mostly native plants. Neat old buildings. Okay, off to the right here is, well, it says live in the divide. I think it's sort of a antique shop, junk shop. Looks like maybe several different businesses here. I'm not sure what road this is. North Ida, and that's looking north. You can hear construction vehicles backing up as we get into another new building. I love this sort of classic old sign there, that cowboy. It's like Insidio Architects, Classic Inc., Soma, and Jericho Studios in there. I don't want to be one of the people that complains about the growth of Bozeman. It has changed, the culture has changed quite significantly, but one thing I want to compliment is the city has made a real effort to have thoughtful growth, so increasing density rather than just more and more subdivisions and suburbs. Love how these little sort of nattery old buildings are still here. I mean, on one hand, they could be used for housing or something. On the other hand, it's kind of adds to the charm. Okay, Outlaw Realty open house. Fink's Delicatessen over here. I like this fence too. One of the things I do as I walk around is I take pictures of stuff like this and put them in my design album for ostensibly for future reference, but honestly I almost never go back to them. Here is the Streamline bus, free of charge. They have several lines that go around town, and they are, I think, prevented from charging a fee because of the way the grants work that pays for most of them. I think they had an election last year to see if they could create a special, I don't know, tax jurisdiction or something to help raise some money for them to expand them, because with the growth and the older, I won't say infrastructure, but layout of the city, you get narrow streets like this. Parking is tough. And it's getting to the point where do we really want cars everywhere? Or do we want to make our cities where they are walkable and people can get around by bicycle or by bus? So, anyhow. All right, I think we're on Wallace. You see this house? It's probably, I want to say 320, call it 400 square feet, 600 square feet. 428, Wallace, I think. Somebody look that up for me. Let me know in the comments section what the asking price is. Hi there. You can see this is barely even a 2-lane road at this point. reminds me of places in Britain, and they seem to manage, but we have big cars here in the States and in Montana. Another one of the positive changes that I've seen in Bozeman, look at this, I love that porch and those windows too. Small house, but well done and pretty. One of the things I've seen that has started to arise in Bozeman here is these traffic circles. So obviously not really slowing that person down very much, but as we come up on Fridley, but it just, instead of having a four-way stop here, you have an organized way of controlling traffic. We're going to go down Fridley. That slows stuff down but keeps it moving. And they did one up at MSU on the corner of, I want to say 11th in College. Used to be a place where they'd have a lot of accidents, just fender benders, nothing too serious usually. And they put that in, and traffic moves rapidly, not at high rate of speed, but at a high rate of vehicles compared to whereas before. Look at these wonderful sunflowers. Wow, those are great. Kind of want to come back and get the seats. A little, almost like a cabin. But the main thing is they've really reduced the number of collisions, and that saves everybody money. It saves the city money from having people have to come out and deal with the traffic accident. Keeps people safe, of course. Saves insurance company money. Saves vehicle owners money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So really pays dividends. Coming up on North Church Avenue. I believe Church, if you can take that all the way past Bogart Park. It crosses Main Street, goes past Bogart Park, past Beats Hill, and over Kagi up to, I think you can take it all the way up to Sourdough Trailhead. Look at that pretty little building. Cute little mini library. Look at this, look how idyllic this is, the street. So I try not to get run over. So here's another one of these houses that has a little bit of extra color, a little bit of extra artisticness to it. Love this. These aspen, quaking aspen, blowing in the trees. Love it. Coming up on Davis Street. And that crossover. And this is Davis off to the left here. See this historical marker next to this house. The Apollo J. Busch House. B-U-S-C-H. It's on the National Register of Historic Places. coming up on one of the schools, I forget which one, but I do not care to film those kids. I think we can skirt the edge of it without being creepy. I don't know if this is still a church or not. This is Lamme Street, L-A-M-M-E. It's kind of like it might be called LeMay, but it's Lamme. I love the smell of those spruce trees in the heat, in the sun. Sun hits them, warms them up, and then the sap heats up, and it just creates this sort of perfume of the woods. So this is, what do we call this? Perkins Place, an alley. You can see some solar panels back there. Normally I like to walk alleys, but I think I want to cross Rouse up here. Off to the left here as we come up on Rouse and Lamme, we have Creekside Park, but that brick building, I guess we're gonna have to double cross here. Is the old library. We'll cross over here. It's now City Hall, but it was the old library. We're about about 3 blocks from the new library. And they did this cool thing when they moved. They got hundreds of volunteers out here, and they didn't move the books by truck or anything either. They had a big fire brigade style line, bucket brigade style line, and they passed the books around, which I thought is awesome. What a great way to involve the community in helping and taking part and taking ownership of the library, which is here for them. So I thought that was just fantastic. All right, we're gonna go down Montana just for a block, just to see this part of the neighborhood on the other side of Rouse. You get into some more, still in the north side neighborhood. You've got this building, which looks like it's still under construction. I don't remember seeing it. Looks like condos or apartments. Looks like it's pretty nice. A big bunch of brick on the end. Maybe they'll paint a mural or get some plants growing there. But the design's kind of nice. Love it when I see solar panels on roofs. Distributed solar generation. Love it. Shout out to Tom Seeley. Sorry, I probably shouldn't say your name. Anyway, he just recently shared a wonderful article from the New York Times about how Singapore is dealing with increased heat from climate change using design. So urban design, so planting more trees, designing buildings to circulate cool air from ponds and parks, to channel the air in an efficient way that can bring max temperatures down by, I think he said 8 degrees at some places, 3 to 5 degrees in a lot of places. Pretty impressive. Okay, we're at Beale and Bozeman. We're gonna make a left here, back towards downtown. Some construction we saw earlier. That creek we saw earlier, I think, is either Sourdough Creek or Bozeman Creek, depending on where you look at it. Back to Lammy and Bozeman. I just want to show you this little business. Here's those buildings from this side. You know, some exposed wood, stained it looks like, some nice trim options, some porches. Etc. This is Dave's Sushi. They've expanded a number of years ago, I don't remember when. Been here forever again, meaning since I was here. I think from the 80s, 70s or 80s. Anyway, they had a very unfortunate incident this past year where there were some mushrooms from China that either weren't prepared right or were contaminated with something, and actually 3 people passed away tragically, and such a terrible shame and tragedy for that, and not only for that reason, you know, people being sickened and losing their lives is terrible, but also I don't think they've ever had any issues at that restaurant with food poisoning or anything. I think they've always passed all their inspections, etc. And so this one ingredient, some again, mushrooms from China, I believe. I think they were morels. I don't know exactly what happened, but man, the consequences were pretty horrific. So we are on Mendenhall, I believe, and this is on Main Street. There's Main Street, which is 4-lane highway of, I think it's 191 business. And then this is the Ridge Athletic Club on our right, sorry. And there's 2 one-way streets in either direction, which you can see are 2 lanes each. Babcock on the far side, which goes east, and I think this is Mendenhall. Yeah, Mendenhall that goes west. And then you've got the parking garage there. And here's one of the hotels, the Element Hotel here with the Squire House Steakhouse, bar and eatery, I guess. And then AC Hotels that I had mentioned earlier. You can see, would like to see a little more landscaping here at Element. I think they're sort of, by Weston, they're kind of positioning themselves as eco-friendly, but maybe they just need more time for stuff to grow out. And then the AC Hotels by Marriott, the Armory Hotel, I don't know if it's independent or if it is part of a chain. I think most of these hotels are affiliate owned. Not affiliate, what's the word I'm looking for? Franchised. There we go. Coming up on Tracy Avenue. And we're gonna go left here, across the way. The Armory, you can see the cement building on the first 2 levels. That's all that was there, and they added the rest of this. And there's a rooftop deck and bar up there that's apparently pretty nice. We've got Regis, I guess, Regis. I think it's kind of a co-working office space, not exactly sure. Off to the left we have Revelry Restaurant. Bunch of Instagram hats. Okay, Cat Eye Cafe, wonderful breakfast and lunch location. Usually they have outdoor seating instead of parking there. Stuffed French toast is fantastic. Definitely check that out if you're here. Berg Law Firm, old building, which if you look at the top, looks like it's just cinder block at the top. Maybe that's some other kind of rock or stone. I guess maybe it is, but it looks like cinder block, which is kind of funny. I don't think it is cinder block. Anyway, neither here nor there. We're back to Main Street here, and we passed the Rialto early on in our walk in Wild Joe's, and we are going to cross over. Oh, you can see a sign down there over the street called for Raptor Fest. So we keep going. And that's this neat thing up at Bridger Bowl, and they have a lot of volunteers come up and they do all sorts of counts because it's a funnel place where raptor migration is funneled through, and they can do these counts. And then they also have all sorts of educational events for people that are want to bring their kids up. You know, they'll have the local raptor rescue, I forget what it's called now, but they'll bring up some ambassador birds, and you can sort of talk about those and see a live bird. This Beehive's Honey Bar. Now, talk about a specialized shop, right? Very niche, and it has been there for probably 8 years now, and defies certainly my expectations. I'm glad that it's working out for them. I think that's wonderful, but I'm just, you know, so niche for a small community. I say small, but it's, you know, at the same time I talk about how big it is. This is the federal building off the left, Forest Service, Post Office, et al. But we're going to go up Babcock. You can see this is the other one-way street, heads east. And we're pushing an hour on this walk. Got my miles in. Been trying to walk more. One of the things I want to add to the site at some point here is another sort of vertical menu item for information about walking and the benefits of walking, because it really is kind of the super exercise a la superfoods. You know, it does so much for us at such minor effort. It strengthens your core, it helps you maintain your balance, it improves your stress levels, lowers cortisol levels, the optical flow sensation of things going by you helps as well. And if you can't, the motion of walking, and you know, we evolved to walk, and it's just incredibly good for us. And the more they look at it, the more they find out. This is Wilson. It's kind of a main north-south avenue, and also goes up by a bunch of old homes and towards the university. Not quite to the university, it's more east of the university, and just a major thoroughfare north-south direction. And we are coming up on our return to the Emerson Cultural Center for the Arts. Some magpies, naughty, mischievous little birds. It's so beautiful. And I want to thank you guys for joining me today. We got another minute here. But check out the website if you haven't. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Mainly, I love, and I usually say this up front, a couple things up front that I forgot. One, leave comments. I love interacting with you guys. I love hearing your memories, your personal connections, even your corrections. I got a few additional information items and a correction from Cincinnati walks recently, which I really appreciated. And it helps me, helps other viewers, so bring it. The other one, I normally am so good about this, thanking Patreon supporters. Thank you guys. Your support is not only financial, but also moral, emotional, etc. It really does encourage me to keep doing these, to know that you guys place some value on these walks. And I did want to say, maybe I'll put a little blurb at the beginning if I remember. I've gotten 2 new followers recently, in the last couple weeks. Thank you guys. Your names will appear on this one. You subscribed after I'd edited the other walks that I then posted after you subscribed. So didn't forget you. It was just already in the, everything was already in the queue and uploaded and everything. So anyway, thank you guys for that. Here's a raven sculpture made out of old tires to send you on your way with. I really do appreciate you guys taking the time to share your time with me. I hope these are of value to you. Not sure where I'm going to walk next. I've got some ideas, some plans. Until then, keep on stepping.